All right, we are live. I just have to activate the Amazon one here, and then we'll kick things off. So today, this is a deal, I think. We'll see. We'll see how it works. This is a laptop from Ace Magician. They actually changed their branding, so now they're Ace Magic. They were Ace Magician last week. So there you can figure that out for yourselves there. So they're cranking out stuff, and they keep sending me computers. So this is the laptop, which in full disclosure came in free of charge from Ace Magician. We'll be doing one of our giveaways at some point on this thing. This is a 15-inch Windows laptop running, I think it's running 11 Pro. It's got an N95 processor. You know, I should probably put these specs in the video description or in the chat, which I will do in a second here. So actually, let me pull these stats up because I forgot what they were. My recollection is, it's called the Ace Magic PC. You can find it on, if you go to my Amazon link, it'll take you right there. So right now, this thing is on sale. They keep messing around with the price. Last night, this thing was $1,200, and they took 50% off. So you can get this for, I think, $309. So $309. It is 15.6-inch display. Let me get some notes down here real quick. This is the Ace Magic laptop. And what we have on this one is an Intel N95, 1080p IPS display. And I'll take your questions here in a minute. I'm just getting, I should have set up a little bit more before I hit the button to start streaming. So we will get there. Hang on a second. And I have so many things running in the house now, it's crazy. So this is not Acer, it is Ace Magic. So remember the Ace Magician? It's Ace Magic. Hey, DJ Craze heard me on WTIC. Yeah, I go on with Brian quite a bit. I like Brian a lot. Let me know how I did. And Kevin is joining us from Lakeland. And we have Cooler King from Kentucky. Did you know that I am a Kentucky Colonel? I found my certificate the other day. I think I took a picture of it. I can pull it up. So a friend of mine had some connection in Kentucky, so he got a bunch of us to become Kentucky Colonels, which was really cool. So let's see here. I got to get my thing out here. So what this is a very low-cost laptop. $300. Oh, I was working on the specs here. So this one, see how distracted I get? My goodness. This one is a 15.6-inch 1080p display, IPS. It is running with an N95 processor. It has 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM and a 512 gigabyte SSD. And maybe we'll try to take it apart in a minute and see what's inside of it. But pretty nicely equipped for like $300, right? I mean, it's not going to be terribly quick. You know, it's going to be N95 low-end Intel quick. But that's quicker than quick used to be, right? So it's not as bad as it used to be in that sense. It's certainly going to be Chromebook worthy. And you know what? This would be a good target for Chrome OS Flex because it will almost definitely run Chrome OS Flex. So there are some things that you could do with this to maybe make it into a decent little Chromebook. But let's open the box up and see what is inside. And we'll get to work on this thing. So here is the instruction manual, and we'll take some questions here while we go. So we have a bunch of people checking in. So Mahadi Sajad Niloy is here. Matt K wants to know my hot take on the Linus thing. I have been following it all that much, to be quite honest. I did watch the video that Gamers Nexus put out. I don't know enough to have an opinion. To be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of those channels because although I'm interested in high-end PCs, I don't get into the weeds all that much with that stuff anymore, personally. But I will say this. I don't like it when people I like are fighting with each other. That's what I'll say. And that's what this feels like to me. And I know there's a lot more to the story than that. And I could definitely understand the pressure that I think when you get to the size that Linus gets, I can understand the pressure that he's under. You walk into work every day, and I had this experience in a family business. You walk into work every day, and you see all the people that you're responsible for and worry about whether or not that phone's going to ring tomorrow. And I think that drives a lot of the output level there that apparently was difficult to maintain. And I think that leads to a lot of what goes on there. It's tough. And, you know, and even with this business, I'm always convinced I'm going out of business tomorrow. And the rate that YouTube is going, may very well be the case. It's one thing when you have an economy to deal with, which is not predictable necessarily, but at least it's not being manipulated, whereas YouTube manipulates its economy. All right, so here is it's got a number pad on it. What it doesn't have, though, is the enter key over here. So I like number pads, but I like having one of those enter and plus keys there. UK Birmingham is here. Good to see you. And DJ Craze is local, not far from me. I bet you I probably pass by you all the time. Bogish says, I'm looking after an Ace Magician mini PC. Yes, so they have, we looked at one of those. They just sent in another one that I got. This one's crazy. I think this one might be, it's not on Amazon yet, so I was going to stream with it today, but it's not yet available. This new one they sent over, it's got a wireless charger for your phone on the top. It has 3 NVMe slots for storage. It's running with a Zen 3 Ryzen processor. It's got 30 things like decked out. I don't know what it costs yet, so we'll have to see what they put together on that. And let's see, does that image on Amazon say 16 gigabyte ROM? Let's take a look. Their English is not so great, I can confirm that. Yes, it does say 16 gigabyte ROM. They got it reversed. So it says 512 gigabyte RAM, 16 gigabyte ROM. Yeah, they totally messed it up. And that's why I always put a disclaimer on these things where it's like, buy at your own risk, because you don't know what you're gonna get here. That's for sure. Nana Sika is here. Michael from France. Good to see you. I think it'll be dual channel. We'll find out when we plug it in. This is the power adapter here. This is it's got a 19 volt, so it's 2.1 amps at 19 volts. That's a weird. And it's USB-C on the end here. Huh. So it's got, here, let's take a look at the ports before we boot it up. Or we can take it apart, whatever you want to do. Let's take it apart. Looks like it's pretty easy to get into. So the bottom feels like it's metal. It's cold like metal. And then the top feels like plastic. Yeah, it's definitely plastic. The whole, yeah, here's where you get into the quality issues. Let me pull this thing off for a second. It does flex. Now, we've seen this on even more expensive laptops, but on the top here is metal and the bottom is metal. But you got to like hold the thing down here to get it open. So why don't we take it apart real quick and let's see what's inside. Matt Case is just trying to stir the pot. That's okay. I understand. It's a topic out there that I know my viewers are following, and it's tough. And I think it's, like I said, it's just the whole nature of this business right now is totally in flux, and I'm seeing it. I haven't seen it on the revenue side yet, but my traffic is down considerably, and I attribute some of that to economic conditions with the change from a locked down economy to one that like opened up. But what really bugs me about YouTube right now, and I think this is actually of all these platforms, is that everything, like subscribing to a channel doesn't matter anymore. So you could be subscribed. You're not going to see anything if you don't, like, if you don't click on everything I upload, they will essentially shadow unsubscribe you. That's what's happening right now. Yeah, no, it's not 512 event read only. That's for sure. And yeah, we'll find out in a second here, see how it performs. Thank you, DJ. Oh, by the way, tonight, I have a busy day today. So tonight I am going to be hosting a live stream on nasaspaceflight.com. So tune in for that. I'll be, they're launching a batch of Starlink satellites, and I'll be hosting along with my buddy Sawyer from that great website. He's my expert, so I'll be asking him a lot of questions tonight. That'll start around 8 or so p.m. Eastern time. Now, I did get, this is coming next week, I have an ARM Windows laptop 2-in-1 on the way. So make sure your alerts are enabled if that works anymore, because we're going to look at that. It's a 2-in-1 from a company I haven't heard of before, but it's got an 8CX Gen 3 processor. And we haven't seen a lot of ARM activity from some of the regulars on, you know, the name brands. So I'm curious to see how it will perform. So we're going to take this thing apart and see what is inside of it, and then we'll boot it up. And DJ was heading towards Plainville this morning when he heard it. Yeah, I go on every week, or every 2 or 3 weeks they have me on. It does have the USB, it does charge over USB-C. I'll plug in my regular one and see how it works. Matt Case says, fully agreed. Yeah, it's a tough business right now. And I think what happens is, like I said, go back to the other topic, is that, you know, I put myself in Linus's shoes. He's walking into this place. It's all on him. I'm sure he's got a line of credit. The bank is there. Like, if you screw it all up, everybody loses their job, and the bank is coming after you, right? And just because these companies get big doesn't mean they have money. It usually means that they were able to get a line of credit based on future earnings, which the bank can crawl back at any time. And so you got tremendously high overhead. You look at the size of his facility there, it's crazy. So I am sure that drives the volume. And there's a little sticker on that one there. I'm sure that drives the volume. And that volume is, I think, at the heart of the criticism that they're getting right now, is that, you know, they were talking about accuracy issues, I think, in the video that we were watching. There might be another screw under that sticker there. We'll find out in a second. I'm just taking it apart because I want to see if you can upgrade any part of this. And we'll see what we got. And it's a good thing that I took out my magnetic screw thing here, because these 2 screws in the back are longer than the rest of them. So I have looked at the Ace Magician mini PCs before, but not this one. Yeah, so I think a lot of people have not seen so I guess what happened was Gamers Nexus got up. I think there was some issue over, I guess there was Linus had their annual gathering that they do in Canada, and they gave a tour, and somebody on the tour compared themselves to some of the other people as it's a whole big to-do. All right, so here's the deal. There is 1 stick of RAM, but my understanding, and correct me if I am wrong, my understanding with these new N95 machines is that, and I better remember to take a B-roll shot here. My understanding with this is that these new N95 chips don't need 2 sticks of RAM to get the best performance anymore. So just having a single channel is not the big deal it used to be. Correct me if I am wrong, because I pointed that out in a video because I was surprised over the performance I saw on a single channel device. All right, so let's do a quick little B-roll clip here. So we have our RAM and our NVMe right there. It looks like they could have fit another one in there, but there is not. And then this looks like your Wi-Fi radio. And we'll see what, I think it's got Wi-Fi 6E on board. Let's see, that's a big piece of plastic. I don't want to mess that up. That's what's holding the antennas on there. So that's the inside. Mac Store, having trouble sleeping in Asia. It's almost 2 a.m. Yeah, you must be like close to China, right? China's about 12 hours behind. Maybe Hong Kong? It is very unforgiving. It's even more unforgiving than it used to be. Here's what this is what just bothers me, is that if somebody takes the time to subscribe to a channel, like, why not show it to the people that are subscribed? And if anything, it helps, because if you don't want to see anything anymore from that channel, seeing it, right? And maybe I'm just old, but I like to know what I'm not selecting. I don't like this idea of the algorithm deciding what I am going to see and not see. I want to go through the list. And I have that video I did on how I thought YouTube should fix things. So I have my own RSS reader now just for YouTube, because I can't trust the algorithm. And then you go down like one little rabbit hole, and then all you see is that rabbit hole moving forward. It's not good. This is a 15-inch display. I'll put the specs in the chat here in a second. Let me do that real quick. Hey, Joe Tyson's here. Hey, Joe, you know, I should try to reach you on the radio, because I bet you I could easily get a signal. I could probably talk to you, given how close you are on some of the bands. Now, I'm a general now, so we should do like a ham radio night. That's what we're going to do. We'll get some of the other viewers that are ham people. All right. The questions are coming in fast and furious. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to just put in the chat the specs on this system. So this is an Intel N95, 16 gigabyte RAM, 512 gigabyte SSD. Looks like an NVMe, 15.6-inch IPS 1080p. And I'm going to pin that. So now, there we go. Yeah, so we'll try to get everybody in. I have Ham Radio DX in Australia. I don't think I could reach him with the antennas that I have currently. Although I wonder, maybe I could do something with the ARRL, because they're not far. We could maybe arrange some things. I bet you they could hit Australia from there. I'll have to talk to those guys. That might be kind of a fun thing to do. All right, so now we're going to put this thing back together. Oh, that's right. There's a big Huntsville Ham Fest this weekend. Trent Curtis, good to see you. So Trent and I were able to make a successful FT8 contact, which is a digital mode, because I'm a general now, so I can do digital on many more frequencies. I got to find some new things to do on ham radio so I can do an update. But I'm enjoying it. It's cool just to do that. And I've made voice contacts on all the different bands that I can access now. You got to be really careful though, because as a general, you can't use all of the voice frequencies that the extras can. So you got to check that chart before you go on the air to make sure you're in good shape. All right, I missed a whole bunch of questions here. And Dave heard me today on WTIC also. Yeah, you know, it's funny. So many people will call me like, hey, I heard you on the radio this morning. It's kind of fun. And what I like about Brian's show is they have a great podcast feed for Brian and Company on WTIC. So you can, they break out all the interviews. So if you miss something, and it's a great way to keep up on what's going on in the state. They had some great guests about what's going on in Hartford. So good stuff if you're into Connecticut stuff. He does a great job. And he, of course, took over for Ray. And Ray was the host for many years. Like, he was on since I was in college. He just recently retired. Let's see. I'm just trying to go through the questions here. Yeah, we'll take a look at the key travel here in a second also. And James has got a CM4 for his Raspberry, or for a GPI Case 2. What is a GPI Case 2? Or is that a CM? That's the compute module. Never mind. Now I know what you're talking about. And yes, the Amazon link should be active in the description. And thank you, DieTube, for joining us today. Thank you, Matt K. Yeah, I wish more people would share what I do. It's not bad. I mean, it's not any. I would say it's worse than it has been from a viewership perspective. And I think what's happening now is that if you go off topic, they penalize you tremendously. And a great example of this is, and I talked about this on one of my recent my channel update from last week. So I went down to that Artemis launch for the NASA thing. Now, in prior adventures down to space stuff, even though it's not my usual beat, I would do okay on the space launch content. And now it just tanks because it just doesn't fit whatever algorithmic thing they have there. And I think my big frustration is that the only people the YouTube executives talk to, and I'm not talking about like their product managers and stuff, I'm talking about the people that you see on the Twitter and whatever, is they don't hang out with the smaller creators because none of us can afford to go to any of these conferences. So, like, you look at VidCon, it's like, gosh, just to get the ticket is like $800. Then you got to fly out there and have a place to stay, and yada yada. It gets pricey. I can't remember. I went to VidCon one year, but it's just expensive. So who do you talk to when you're out there, and who do you socialize with? It's the people that can afford to take a week off from work because they're making so much money on their views to go out to these events. And I think what they need to do is put together a council of smaller creators who have to piece together, like I do, their revenue month to month. Because I think they're getting out of touch. Well, they've been out of touch, but they're really, for me, it's just what's frustrating is that subscriptions used to matter and now they don't. So that's what bothers me. Okay. Yes, this is, so they've rebranded. So they were Ace Magician and now they are Ace Magic. So Ken wants to know, how are they out of touch? Well, I'll give you a great example of how they're out of touch. There's no better example than what just happened. And Ken was asking this question on Amazon. So they just announced that if you are doing YouTube Shorts, you can no longer put external links in the video description. So right now on YouTube, I have a link on the stream to take people to where you are right now, Ken, on Amazon, so that if they were interested in buying this laptop, they would know where to go. And that is essentially an affiliate link because it goes to the Amazon live stream that I'm on right now. So they roll out this announcement the other day about how they're going to change the way the YouTube Shorts work, in that you can't put an external link in the description or the comments. And people who rely on affiliate marketing links were like, what the heck is this? Because now I don't get that much traffic on the shorts that I upload, but some people do. And so no one's going to go to your profile, click on a link, go to a website, and then go to another, you know what I mean? Like they're adding steps to the process in order to get people over to these affiliate links. And the response, this is why I say they're out of touch. The response from the creator liaison, who is their former tech YouTuber, so I remembered him from when he did other work in the space that I work in. His response was, well, Instagram and TikTok do this, and everyone is doing just fine there. So what's the big deal, essentially? And it wasn't just to like one person. It wasn't like a flippant remark. It was the canned response that he made to everybody. That this is what everybody does. And I think if he was in a position of understanding for a small creator and for maybe people that are starting out, that the affiliate links really are the main driver of revenue. And they still are for me. Not the major. Well, I guess they are kind of the major one if you count Amazon. And to just turn that off and say, well, our competitors do it already. You know what I mean? It just speaks to the fact that I think the people he hangs out with, and perhaps some of these other executives, it's not a problem for them because they're getting payola money from sponsors and everybody else. But that's not the experience for a lot of people starting. And it's going to hurt people. And to answer your question, Ken, what they said as the reason for it was hacking and spam and scams. But meanwhile, they're not turning off links on long-form content for descriptions or comments, right? It just doesn't make sense to me. I think what's happening is they get so much more traffic on the shorts insofar as individual views that by my count, you can expect on a short about a 2 or 3% click-through rate on an impression of a video to the link. So if you're doing 50 million views on some creators a day or a week, that's a lot of outbound traffic. And at the same time, YouTube is trying to launch their own affiliate marketing program. And I think they're trying to steer people to use their program. But guess what? Amazon's not on there, right? And the other issue I've noticed with the YouTube program is that I get far fewer clicks, even though it's a much more visible link. And I have yet to have a single conversion after like 3 or 4 months as part of this program. Whereas with Amazon, it's much, much different. So those are some of the reasons. So yeah, I feel like they're out of touch because if they were in touch with the YouTube middle class or the starters, the people that are starting out, they would see it as a different thing. And the other thing that really frustrates me about YouTube is that they really make it difficult, if not impossible, for journalism, good journalism, to thrive on their platform because everything gets demonetized if it's talking about, some tragic event or whatever. You know what I mean? So those are the sorts of things that bug me. And I don't feel like they're listening. And unfortunately, not enough people are making a stink about, this whole issue. So it's just it's gonna be what it is. And what really bugs me now is just that, like, my subscribers if you don't watch, like, let's say I have 4 videos that go up, you don't watch any of them, you're shadow unsubscribed, almost certainly. So it's, and they want you pigeonholed into one topic, and I've never been about one topic. So that's the deal. Sorry, I'm just getting my account set up here on the computer. So we are getting Windows installed. And Ken says, yeah, I am. You're right about that too. All right, enough griping. Well, I'll keep griping. I like to gripe. It's the only outlet I have. I know somebody's listening to me. But don't you all agree that if you subscribe to a channel, shouldn't you see what they upload? It does, And they will say, well, there's a subscription tab. And I did a video about this. The problem with the subscription tab is that it's broken in the sense that it does work. It gives you everything that was posted in the order it was posted. But there's no way to sort it out. And what they're assuming on the viewer side is that viewers are into one topic and one topic only. I have a whole bunch of stuff that I watch. I mean, YouTube has become like the television for me, right? So I like news, I like politics, I like engineering, I like tech stuff. I like to watch some of these these court case streams because I find them interesting. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have no set thing, and I have different moods of what I want to watch, right? The court stuff I watch in the morning when I'm having breakfast. At night, I like my retro tech stuff. And when I turn my TV on, I get all these random recommendations that are all good, but they're not what I want at that moment. So what I want to do is go into my subscription tab and say, give me all the retro tech topics in here, right? And they can do that. They just don't do it. They don't want you in that thing. And so Bill is one of the, and thank you for the follow, Ken, and also want to thank Alex for the follow. Sorry, I have to finish this rant, and then I'll get back to the laptop. By the way, it booted up. How about that? Let me get it on my Wi-Fi here. But the other thing that bugs me about that subscriber tab is that, again, there's no way to sort it out. And then what happens is, because I'm into news, I follow a lot of news organizations, they tend to dump a whole bunch of stuff up at once. So, unless I go through my subscription list, which I've been building for the last 15 years, or 10 years, however long it's been, I have to start cleaning some of these things out. I still want to be subscribed to those channels, but they post so much stuff all at once that you're just kind of scrolling through. So I think there's a better way to present that. And if you go, I did a video on this, so check it out, because I showed I built an RSS feed around my YouTube experience, and I made the topics myself and segmented everybody into these different buckets. And it's been great because I'm seeing how much stuff that I am missing because they don't think I want to see it, even though I really do. And even things that I don't want to watch, I want to see it to know what I'm not watching, right? But I don't want to not see that creator ever again. And their assumption is, well, if you don't watch somebody for 3 or 4 cycles, then you're probably not interested in them anymore. So we're just going to take you right out. So that is that. So Ken, if you go to Lon.TV, which will take you to my YouTube channel. I don't think they let me post YouTube links in Amazon. It'll take you right there. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I just want to know what I am missing. I don't want the algorithm to decide for me. I'm a big boy. And just give me a list, and I'll sift through. And I guess maybe I'm just not like the normal person, which my family reminds me of constantly. So, all right, here's the keyboard. Is this backlit? I don't think it is backlit. I got it on the Wi-Fi. We should probably do an update. It actually looks pretty good. It's not a touch display. As you can see, it's floppy. The screen is rather dim. I would put this probably in the 250 nit category. So it's not the brightest, but it is a matte finish, so it's not shiny. It looks good, actually. It looks pretty good. All right, let's see how bad the updates are on this. I don't know what version of Windows I'm running or how far behind I am on updates, but let's just take a look and see what we've got here. Yes, and exactly. Now, what they are going to allow on Shorts is this is actually a nice thing that they added. So what happened was they announced this nice thing and then kind of buried the lead on what they were taking away. So what you're going to be able to do with Shorts is you will be able to link on the front page of the short video to a long form one. That's good. That's good. But I think if they trust you as a creator, they should be a little more accepting of some other stuff. All right, these updates are coming down pretty quick, so let these finish up real quick, and then we'll go from there. Yes, so the stickers, look at that. I mean, you don't see this on your $5,000 laptop, do you? Look at that. These stickers come right off. I think. Actually, they're on there pretty good. It's deceiving. They look like they can pull off easily, but they don't come off that easily. And they have official WhatsApp customer service. Should we try that? Well, let's try customer service real quick and see how it works. I doubt they're up right now because it's 2 a.m. in China. But I do have WhatsApp on my phone. I rarely use it. All right, let me go into, let's see, how do I look up somebody? New, maybe? New contact. Oh, add via QR code. Okay, so let's do that real quick. We don't use WhatsApp here in the United States all that much, just so you know. And that sticker is so shiny that it can't zero in on it. Hang on, I'm trying to get a view of it there. There we go. Okay. All right, so it's some random phone number. It's got the picture of the computer in it at least, so that's. All right, let's see. Should we send them a chat? Let's do that real quick while we're waiting for this to update. So here's have you ever used WhatsApp? So this is WhatsApp. All right, so we're going to send them a chat. Let's see what they say. I bet you they have a bot. What do you think? I think they're sleeping. It's like 2 a.m. over there, so they're probably not going to answer right now. But this might be a fun thing to explore in the future on the review when we do it. All right, so we're going to let this update process. This is like the update show, right? So let's let this update thing happen, and then we'll do something that goes on there. And I agree, Trent. It is garbage in, garbage out. And look, I complain about the algorithm because there are complaints. On the other side, I wouldn't have all these subscribers if there wasn't an algorithm. So there's got to be a better balance is what I'm saying. Ask if their refrigerator is running. Yeah, they make like computers and like hair dryers, I think. I don't know. But, oh, and I'm glad Chris is here. Chris, the next one that they sent me, it's not on Amazon yet. It's coming out in a couple days. So we'll do another stream with that one. Their new mini PC, get this, dual 2.5 gig Ethernet, 3 NVMe 4.0 SSD slots on the top of it. It's also got a phone charger on the top, a wireless phone charger, and like a Zen 3 Ryzen processor. So it's cool. We're gonna have some fun with that one. Stephen Green never takes the stickers off. It's probably best that you don't, because if it's got a phone number on it, right, for support, you'll never know who to call. So they haven't replied to me yet, but they are sleeping probably right now. So, and Bill on says Amazon frowns on external. Yeah, they don't like any kind of external links. So I actually have to edit my videos when I upload them, because they have very strict. The rules are the rules. I'm not complaining about it. I do fine on Amazon. They don't restrict you from putting the same content in both places. You just can't try to draw people out from the platform to another one. But I can post my videos everywhere. And yeah, that's true. And Mark says that everyone in Italy uses WhatsApp because regular text can get costly. Yeah, WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is what I think Elon Musk envisions for X now, because like there really is not an everything app in the United States. The closest equivalent would be like Apple's iMessage, because you can do all the transactional things, like send people money through it and everything. But here in the US, we're very much fragmented, right? We've got people that stay with their SMS on their carrier, so they're the green windows. Oh, Ken's right. Weibo in China is big. That's right. And what's the other thing I was? And then you have Telegram, like throughout some of the Eastern European countries, right? Telegram's pretty big out there. I think in the Middle East, Telegram is pretty big too. Telegram is neat. I like how it integrates. Telegram's approach is very different than a lot of the other platforms. Everything is treated like a chat, but you can have like these big groups. You can have like a one-way thing going. I did a video on it about a year or two ago. I really like it. I just wish there was more people that watch me were on Telegram, because I think it could be a great platform to grow on. Yeah, and you know what's funny about Telegram is that they talk about their encryption like it's so good, but it really isn't. I think I think what they do is they claim to never have had any government inquiries about their content, but I think the reason is that their encryption is so bad that they don't have to ask them for it. So the Ryzen 3 Aspire 3 is below $300. Is that a laptop? Oh yeah, sorry, the Acer. Yes, I would say we'll have to put it to the test, which we'll do after the updates are done here. It's almost done with this update. We'll take a look. I have a feeling that Acer will have better graphical performance with the Ryzen, even with the older Ryzen chip. But yeah, you'll like this one, Chris. This one's going to be. I was thinking about you when they asked if I wanted to review it. It's pretty cool for a mini PC. I love mini PCs. They're very useful. Because you know what's nice about them is that they're really cheap. So, for example, when we set up a bunch of stuff for the schools locally here for their live streaming. And one of the elementary schools, they like to do a slideshow in the morning from Google Sheets. And rather than go through the complexity of like running it on their vMix laptop, I was like, oh, I got another PC, I could just bring that over. So we hooked them up with one of those extra mini PCs that I've got sitting around. And that worked out great for them. You know, I will ask them why the sticker won't peel. Yeah, Acers are good. You know what? Acer is like the name brand. They're a name brand. They have a U.S. presence. I think they were the old Texas Instruments PC department or a PC brand. So I think Texas Instruments sold their PC business to them, if I'm not mistaken. I could be totally wrong about that. But what I like about Acer is that it feels like a cheap Acer will feel very much like this one feels. I actually like the keyboard on this better than the Acers because the keys are bigger. They may have some issues with copyright with Ace Magic because it does. The first thing that somebody said is this an Acer? I'm like, no, it's an Ace. An Ace Magic, formerly Ace Magician. They were Ace Magician a week ago. So Ken wants to know, how did I get into this? Well, it's funny how I got into this. I got into this because I just recently got back into it. I got into the Amazon Vine program, and I started getting stuff from Amazon to review on Amazon's platform. And around the time that I got into the Amazon Vine program, they started doing video reviews. And I've always been a video nerd. And I started reviewing things with my iPhone 3GS. Remember that phone? It was like it was the first real true integration of video into a smartphone. And I liked the convenience of being able just to have one device to do stuff. So I started doing video reviews of the stuff I was getting. And then I started parking the videos on YouTube. And this part of YouTube still actually works pretty good, which is the search function. And what was happening was I was starting to get a lot of traffic on people searching. This is still my strategy today, on people searching for reviews of whatever. So the challenge that I have and why I get so frustrated is that I'm still mostly a commodity content provider because about 80% of my traffic comes from people who aren't subscribed to me. Yet at this point, and by the way, they all came in from searches. But what's frustrating is that I now have 340,000 something subscribers, and I have no way to know that I'm reaching any of them. It drives me crazy. Everything I've done to try to say like, hey, subscribers, how are you? Like YouTube just doesn't put the video in front of them. So and I'll hear from people. I put anywhere from 3 to 4 videos up per week. And I don't fall into their bucket of a creator that talks about this one topic and only this topic, and so I will put up 3 or 4 videos a week, and I've been doing that consistently for the last 7 or 8 years. And every once in a while, more often than not, oh, it's good to see you back. Did you take a break? Like, no, I've been here the whole time. Exactly, Ken. It's like screaming into the void. But at the same time, like, I know, like, I'm like of two minds on this. At the same time, that algorithm does help because every once in a while it'll recommend a video to people, and it does well, and it finds new people to watch. But I think they just have to have a better balance, especially if you have a lot of subscribers or have any subscribers for that matter. By the way, I don't see a lot of backlight bleed on this display. Like, this looks like a very good contrast ratio for like a cheap IPS display. Like, I'm not seeing any backlight bleed. We'll take a look when we get some solid color up on screen, but it looks pretty good. All right, why don't we install some benchmarks and see how that goes. Yeah, this is like an off-brand Acer, right? If Acer's not cheap enough for you, there's Ace Magic. Beeper. I've never heard of Beeper before. I used to have a Beeper. When I was in college, I did not yet have, I was in college in '94 before you could get like a pocketable phone. I ended up getting like a StarTAC later that year, or not a StarTAC, whatever that thing is over there, that one. Here. I had one like that one over there, but that was not until like mid to late '94. And so, speaking of the family business that I was mentioning earlier, the family business was located about a half hour south of my location in college. So rather than hire an IT person, my father figured, because, gotta be frugal, if you're close enough and there's a problem, we'll just call you on the beeper, and then you just call us back. So the damn thing would go off all the time. Beep, right in the middle of class, the thing would start beeping. You could have it vibrate, but I always would forget to turn that on. And at one point, the professor was doing one of his lessons. He was running all over the classroom. And he walks up to me to like make some point, and my beeper goes off. Everybody thought I was a drug dealer. All right, so let's go grab, I'm going to grab Steam real quick, and we'll run the 3D Mark stuff on it and see how it does. And then we'll have a good idea as to how this maybe stacks up against the Acer. And yeah, I think you're right, Crab Donkey. It's too dim to have any kind of... So let me ask you this to JoJo, which is good that I'm showing up there. Do you watch like most of what I upload or just some things? Because that's what I'm really trying to flesh out here, is that. All right, I just don't want to create an account to use. Let me go grab a web browser here real quick. You can't even load the web browser up without signing into. That's crazy. Let's grab, I'm just going to grab Chrome because we will do a benchmark in Chrome later too. And I'll tell you what, Microsoft does not want you downloading Chrome. They make it so hard. Like you get hit with everything. Like this is inserted by the browser on Google's website. Could you imagine them trying to do that in the 90s when they were getting sued from the government? Times change. Oh, here's another thing with pagers. You know, for all this medical confidentiality that's out there, the pagers are still used. And I'm sure, Trent, if you have an SDR, you've probably stumbled across them. I live in like a rural-ish area, and I pick up a lot of pager traffic. And the pagers are completely unencrypted. And there's medical data getting like in hospitals, getting passed around on these pagers, and just out there in the air. Do some searches on it. It's crazy. See, yeah. So I started an email newsletter. So, oh, by the way, if you want to subscribe to my email newsletter, it's there's two of them. There's Lon.TV/email. That's my weekly one. And there's Lon.TV/digest, which is my daily one. And if you subscribe to my email list, I send out, every time I upload a video, I send out a video, or an email about the video that I just uploaded, so you know that I uploaded something. But I'll tell you, it doesn't get a lot of clicks because it's impossible to email people now too, because the spam filters, right? It's just, you know, I was just in this, I had this utopian idea of the fact that every individual can just get their voice out on this internet thing. I wrote a college paper about it, but not anymore. You can't email anybody. You can still text them for now, but that's going to go away too. Yep, I'm grumpy. I should be happy. I'm very fortunate. But it's just hard because I think if you subscribe to a channel, I'm all for algorithmic recommendations, but if you subscribe to a channel, you should at least see what you're missing. That's all I'm saying. Oh yeah, so there was like, if you went over the Tappan Zee Bridge or something in New York, your phone would get cloned immediately. Yeah, those were completely unencrypted. It was pretty crazy. All right, so what I have plugged into the Ace Magic here is my SanDisk gaming drive. So I've got a bunch of games that I've loaded up on here, so I don't have to keep downloading them, which makes it really easy. That's one of the things I love about Steam, is that it's so portable. So you can just put stuff on an external drive and kind of have that as your option. It actually feels pretty good. I mean, it's got an N95 processor, so as you'll see when we do the benchmarks, it's not going to knock your socks off performance-wise. But so, I have not. So James, tell me about ham paging. I would love to know more about that. Yeah, exactly. And it's apparently like there's no issue with HIPAA on that. I don't understand like how that can't be an issue. Like every doctor's office I walk into, they all had to get new like privacy filters on their displays. Like they're super crazy about it. They have software updates. Like when I'm at the dentist's office and they have the schedule up, you can't have a patient even know who's coming in next. So here's a great example. A friend of my dad's new neighbor moved here recently, wanted a recommendation for a dentist. I said, oh, my dentist is great. You should go see Dr. Rotella. And he couldn't even, then he came in and the hygienist said, somebody you know was in here who you recommended, but we can't tell you who. It's like, who was it? I recommend him to everybody. Can't tell you. So I had to go to him. I was like, hey, did you say this to her? He's like, yes. So. I think it was one of the bridges going into New York City. I can't remember which one it was, but there was one bridge that if you went over and you were on your phone would get cloned like immediately. I forgot which one it was. Yeah, we are getting a great engagement. I'm having a hard time keeping up with the chat. This is what happens when you get me going. Like all somebody had to do was mention like some of this YouTube stuff, and it gets me all. And what it is like, I love the platform. I think it's a great platform. I mean, it creates so much opportunity, and they keep screwing around with it. And I get that they've got corporate pressure and shareholders, but it's just hard because, like, I'm about to. I've never really focused on trying to build the subscriber base, but what's been frustrating is that I want to do more with the subscriber base, and I can't because every time I try, it doesn't get to the subscribers. You know what I mean? And there's some stuff I do specifically that doesn't appeal to subscribers, but I know that it would be a good evergreen content. Case in point, the printer that we played around with the other day, like that one I know is just wouldn't do well with all of you. But it does do well with search, which, by the way, is thankfully still relevant. So that's good. By the way, I love the fact that you can sign into Steam now with just a QR code. It's so easy most of the time. It checked me off here, but I'm not getting into. There it goes. Yeah, maybe I'll do a conversation stream. But does anybody really care what I have to say? I mean, granted, it's great that you're all here. But, I got 340,000 subscribers and there's 85 people, which is good. I'm glad that you all care. But I'm not trying to, I don't want to be a famous person, but I just want to know, is it worth my effort to try to reach subscribers, or should I just give up, right? That's kind of where I'm at with it. And X is getting weird too. So what I've been playing around with on X, formerly Twitter, is there's they release the algorithm so you know how it works. So I've been going in there and on certain topics, I reply with one of my videos. And so I've been able to get I think I've had close to 1 million impressions in the last month just by being the reply guy. So I'm gonna mess around with that a little bit more. Not that I have time for that, but that's right. Fake badges are better. Hey, whatever works, right? I don't think I looked at the X-Reel. Did I look at the X-Reel? I looked at one of those glass AR glasses. Which one was it? I looked at the one that was being advertised all over the place. Let me see if I can pull it up here. No, I didn't look at the X-Reel. I looked at the N-Reel is what I looked at. So there's X-Reel and N-Reel. So the N-Reels were pretty cool. What didn't work for me was that the image was not in the right spot for my eyes. So I couldn't see the full screen properly. I forgot exactly what my issue was, but I had issues. Okay, so let's go and head over to my Steam library here. I always change how this thing works. Okay, so the other thing with this is like one of those cheapo trackpads. So there's two buttons. There's one on the left side and one on the right side. So does it detect? Let me see this. Hang on. So if I do, oh yeah, let me see. Okay, so it doesn't have gesture detection. Well, that time it did, but I think it's because I hit that side. So if I hit on the left side with 2 fingers, it doesn't work. So you have to actually physically right-click on the side there. Let's make a note of that. Have to right-click on that side. Okay. So somebody called Amazon just popped into the Amazon chat and says hi. Somehow I doubt you are the real Amazon. But if you are, it's cool. Thank you. All right, so let's go back to here. And what I'm going to do here is pull in my game drive here. You people distract me. So just to sum up my issue with YouTube, here's what I want them to do. I want them to fix the subscriber tab and I'll be happy. That's what I want. And they can fix it based on what I described in my video. Because I think that'll make a lot of creators happier because they can point their viewers to where they can find them. And I think it would make life a lot easier. That's my opinion. So which one was it? I think it's Steam Library is what yeah, perfect. Okay, so now we've got that. So what's nice here is that now all of these games here are loaded up, so I don't have to re-download all this stuff. There's a few updates that come down, so you'll probably see, yeah, like the Steamworks Common is getting updated, so we'll let that update, and then we'll run the 3D Mark benchmark. Oh, so Nreal is now Xreal. Got it. Which is probably why nobody watches my video anymore. I got to rename the video. So hard to keep up with this stuff. So this could be interesting. And actually, I think what's going on with Chrome, I got to talk to my Chrome contact about this. They have a partnership with Valve on Steam. And what's neat about this is that because Valve has this great technology that allows Windows stuff to run perfectly on other platforms, the Chrome people see this as an opportunity to have some gaming option for Chromebooks. So I would imagine that you're going to see some really cool ideas in that space, you know, with your games running in containers, right? So here's the thing. I don't think another gaming channel is going to work on YouTube, to be honest with you. Because I follow the space of other 40-something men doing retro game and gaming channels. That segment is so saturated. So it's hard. I may get views, but like the revenue potential just is not there, I think. So thank you, Brian. Yeah, I don't want to destroy YouTube. I think it's a great platform. I just want I just feel like if you're going to have a subscriber system, then make it count for something. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't right now. And I've got all these subscribers. I can't reach them. And if they don't want to be subscribed, you know, put stuff in front of them so they decide, you know what, I'm not going to subscribe to them anymore. I'd rather have it's difficult. I actually think what they should have is 2 tiers of subscription. One is like, I'm interested in this guy, but I don't need to see everything from him. They have the bell click, which is kind of like the second tier, but it puts everything in the notifications drop down, not on the subscription thing. I think it could be so simple. If they would just take your bell clicked people and elevate them on the subscriber tab, it would be so much easier. And then subscribers would mean something again. You know what? I'm going to make a video about that. That's what I'm going to do today. Because while it's fresh in my mind, and that'll be it. So Frank Cromer wants to know, what's the best way to learn how Steam works? Because he just started playing games again. Yeah, that's a good question, because I never really thought about how Steam works. What I like about Steam is that the portability is certainly there. So for example, you just saw how we connected this external drive up. I have all these games already installed on it, and I don't have to re-download anything again. I can't think of anything, though, that's really unknown about Steam. I'll have to think about that. I don't have any resources, but maybe some folks in the chat can reply on that. Yeah, I think Flood of Sins is onto a good point here, and I bet you that's something that Linus's team deals with, which I think is probably driving a lot of the pressure they have to keep feeding the beast, if you will, because I think you're right about that. This is true of all of these platforms. I was on this radio show this morning that some of you listened to me on, and we were talking about this, where it's just like, who has the time, right? Like, you got to keep fighting these algorithms to get placed. D. Johnson is here. Hello there. I have many mice. I just haven't plugged one into this thing. Yeah, that's right. And X Reel is going to be AI Reel soon because you got to have the AI in the name. That's right. And I wish I knew what your name was here because I don't know what letters you've got there. But it looks like he's on a Samsung Chromebook 2 doing lots of gaming through Proton. Proton's amazing. That's what I was thinking of. I couldn't think of the name of it. And lots of comments here. Yeah, I think it's going to be a thing. I still have that framework Chromebook over there. Right, and you have two tiers within the bell click also, right? Some alerts and all. My understanding is some alerts is the default even if you don't click on the bell. That's my understanding. But maybe I'm totally wrong about that. All right, so we're going to run the Time Spy one first, and then we'll do the other one. Let me just turn off the demo. I don't think I can disable the demo on that one. Hang on. So let's run this real quick. This one won't take too long to run. And this is going to appear like super sluggish on here, but that's normal for this processor. This is an N95. There's no fan on this either. I forgot to mention. Is there? Actually, let me go back to my B-roll. I was totally not paying attention while I was ranting away. I've been ranting for the last hour. Oh, it does have a fan. Yeah, that's the fan. So it does have a fan on board, as you can see. So it's got like a copper heat sink that it's actually got a good sized fan for a low powered chip like that. This one might do well on the stress test, I would imagine. Yeah, see, here's the thing. I don't want to be like one of these ranters. It feels good to rant. I want to, when I complain, at least provide a solution that would satisfy me. And my solution to this whole problem is just, because honestly, like, why not just add some features to the subscription tab and we can stop complaining? That's it. It's not going to harm anything. As I noted in my video, I think fewer than 15% of my views actually come from the subscription tab now. Most people just go to the recommendations thing. But I think if they had a path of you go into this subscription tab and you can move things around a little bit to organize them the way you want, I think it would be better. And I think the bell click is an easy way to do that. And so I can't tell you what I saw on this because I have an NDA. But I do a lot of the YouTube, let me turn the volume down on this thing. I do a lot of those YouTube product interviews where they have you come in and they have you look at new things that are on the horizon. And I do that primarily because I like to provide some input as a small creator because I don't think the executive team has enough contact with people like me. So I do a lot of those. I can't tell you what I saw. This was a while ago. I liked what I saw, and I gave them some very specific feedback on how I felt the subscriber tab could be improved and how it won't eat into their recommendations and how it would, I think, make having us complain less. Because honestly, if I was in their shoes and I could do something that cost nothing, that would not give me an excuse to argue about this anymore. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things where it's like, here you go, now what, right? We gave you what you want, now what? Because I'd have nothing to complain about if they fixed the subscriber tab. That's right, it's not ranting, it's engagement. That's it, all about engagement. So, but yes, and actually I can hear the fan going right now. It's not that loud, and it's not that loud because it's pretty big. Oh yeah, I think the Steam Deck has been great for everything because that technology is so easy, because it is a PC. And we're seeing Apple now doing something with the M1 architecture also, right? So it's, and they're doing their own thing, but yeah, it's awesome. It's so good for open source. I'm so excited about that. Oh, don't get me started. Oh, Frank Cromer on the Amazon chat about the 55-minute thing. Yeah, that's a whole other problem. So we are due. Oh, we got past the 55-minute mark today, so that's good. So remember, you have that whole thing where it cuts you all off at 55 minutes. I've been complaining about that forever. Yeah, I should start a ranting channel. So, DC, I've got to figure that out. I'm going to talk to the antenna man. I am going to do an update on the ATSC3 thing. So we'll figure it out. Yeah, you do get some metrics on the streams. You know, it's the same metrics mostly as the regular recorded content. You know, so it's watch time, accumulated watch hours, basically that sort of thing. So you do get a little bit of that. Speaking of which, one thing I always miss, yeah, good. So I always forget. Sometimes people do super chats or whatever, and I miss them. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Yeah, I like where Chrome is going. And what's fun about Chrome is that if you think about it, it's kind of a Trojan horse for getting Linux in the hands of more consumers. So of course Apple has their Unix backend, but it's not as accessible. Whereas with Chrome, you got this container you can boot up, whatever they call it, and you can just install stuff. So I think what's going on with my 55-minute thing, it has to do with the fact that I stream in 4K, because I can. There's no reason for it, but I can, so I do it. And I think that's the problem. I think that's the whole issue is that I'm streaming in 4K. Yeah, so I do Apple Keynote for my ranting videos. Does that hurt me? Do you think maybe people don't want to watch a PowerPoint presentation? But it's either that or I have to do it all in post-production, and it's so much easier just to do it while I'm doing it, right? So I've got hundreds of them. So I don't think they're going to take over Linux by any stretch, but I do think what's going to happen is that you're going to get Linux into the hands of, or already is in the hands of far more consumers than it's ever been. In the sense of an accessible Linux, where you can pull up a command line and actually start installing other open source projects. That I think is a good thing. I mean, the Raspberry Pi can do that for you too, I guess, but it's, the Chromebooks are everywhere. And you can install Flex on something like this too, Bill James loves 4K, so do I. I'm like, hey, you know what, I can do it, I got the bandwidth. So what I'm pushing up right now, and I guess they just enabled, let me go into my stream settings. So right now I am doing 4K H.264, and I'll get to that in a second, at 30 megabits per second. And then on Amazon, I'm sending them 1080p. Well, I'm only doing 720p right now. Usually I send them 1080p because they just fixed, they have a higher bit rate they support now. So I don't know why I'm still at 720p there. But I think it was just today or yesterday, YouTube is now accepting HEVC streams. So that might fix my problem. But I don't think my vMix software supports that yet. So I think that's the one barrier. Yeah, so this is actually normal behavior for this benchmark. This benchmark is just a killer on low-end hardware like this. So I don't expect this is actually running as expected. So what we're really looking for here is the score that we're going to get at the end. And I'm very curious to see how this is going to look versus some of the lower end Ryzens that are out there. So that's what I'm looking for here. So if I'm not mistaken, I think what Chrome has is it. Do I want to say it's a Debian backend on the containers? Is that right? So I'm not sure what distribution is driving the actual Chrome OS, but the container that you boot up, I think, is Debian. But what's nice about it too is that you can pull up that Crostini feature, which is the Linux container, and when you go into it, you can totally mess it up and not screw up the rest of the system. That's what I love about it, is that you have a safe place to learn. And Albert's watching 360p right now. How does it look? I bet you it looks pretty good versus other 360p streams because we're squishing down a lot of resolution into that. Hey, Kenny, thank you for the super chat. When do I think 4K will replace 1080p? I think, on the TV side, I would say you have a hard time finding a 1080p television. Am I wrong about that? Maybe I am. But 4K is pretty prevalent on the television side. But you know what's funny is I think even like to my mother, who for many years was I bought her a 1080p TV, and for many years she was just watching stuff off of her coax cable box that the cable company was ripping her off on. She had no idea she wasn't watching high def. So I think that the move from 1080 to 4K is going to be a lot more difficult, even though the TVs are out there. I don't think a lot of consumers even notice the difference when they're sitting that far back. I certainly do, but and then you look at too, like if you're on, prime example, Paramount Plus. I get it. So my credit card gives me free. Get this one. My credit card gives me free Walmart Plus. So through Walmart Plus, I get Paramount Plus, and that's the advertiser-supported Paramount Plus because I don't watch that much on there. I watch the Star Trek show. That's it. But I don't have to pay for it because I get it for free. But they run the ads. But that tier on Paramount Plus is 1080p. So I noticed the difference there because, which on the Picard show it didn't matter, but the Strange New Worlds is 4K HDR, and you notice it there. So, all right. Now, here is the results. Now, if you go to Lon.TV/benchmarks, so let's do that real quick. We'll see how this stacks up against the other machines that we have looked at. So Lon.TV/benchmarks, that's my Google spreadsheet. I have like 8 years worth of computers in here. And let me just update one thing here. And we'll take a look and see how this goes against the Acer. So interesting. So and I didn't expect this to do better than the Ryzen, but the question came up earlier on about those Ryzen 3 Acers. So the Acer Aspire 5, if you put 2 sticks of RAM in it, it scored 474 versus 346 on this one. And I did not expect this to do all that well against the Ryzens because the graphics on these little Intel chips are not as good as even the older Ryzens are. But still, this is performing, I think, decently, believe it or not. It is exactly where their mini PC version performed. And I'm putting this into my spreadsheet right now. So 346. And we got, let me pull up the, let's go down here a little bit. So 1.97 frames per second. And 7.31. So it's right where their mini PC came in, which I would totally expect that. But it's good. I mean, it's, less than $300. And actually what you'll see in a minute when we do the, or it is just a little over $300, I should say. When we do the other stuff on here, you'll see, and that was the first, let's see, give me 1 second. I'm just looking up one other thing on here. Okay, yeah, so the Surface Laptop Go did much better. The first generation Surface Laptop Go, this actually is in the ballpark on. And I think I have the other Ryzen there. Yes, 474. I'm just trying to find a few other cheap laptops that I've looked at recently. Yeah, this is a good one. The Flex 5 with a 4500U I'll throw in there too. Okay. Let's get a good baseline. So there you go. So that's that. Now here's what's neat though, is that we could load up some old game. And the old game we're going to load up, at least to start with here. I can filter this to the games that are installed. Didn't they have like a thing that can show you what's installed? Yeah, ready to play. Here we go. Okay. So most of this stuff isn't going to run. But what will run is Half-Life 2. So we'll pop that in real quick. Lily Green, thank you for the follow on Amazon. Frank Cromer is wondering, Frank Cromer in the Amazon chat was talking about how our favorite TV tuner, the Silicon Dust HD Home Run, recently got certified for ATSC 3. Now, all of the people that are supportive of ATSC 3's encryption said, oh, once you have a certified device, you're good, right? It's going to just work fine. I'm going to use my pink mouse here. But that is not the case. In fact, even though they are certified, it doesn't matter because you still can't watch the DRM content unless they get approved for DRM separately. So how about that? But it is good that they are certified. And they have teamed up with an over-the-top streamer called Free something. Yeah, I forgot the name of it also. But it's free, but not for the local channels. So you have to pay an equivalent fee to what you would pay with YouTube TV with that. So Michael says it's easy to get an ad-free Paramount Plus subscription for each month, even if recurring subscribers. Slick Deals usually has a password. Okay, that's good to know. Is it like a, do you get the 4K on that or no? Because I don't get the 4K on my, oh, this is running great. Here, let me pull up the Steam overlay here. We'll put the, let's see. In-game FPS, kind of top left. There we go. Resume game. Yeah, this is running at a solid 60. Now, granted, we're inside the building right now, so when I get out of the building here, we'll let's get our. You know what's funny? This game is old, but it still holds up. I'm just going to try to get to a spot. Let me see if I can load up a different save game here. I forgot which one Jake is using here. Let's try this one. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Look how good that runs. So let me just get my recording going. Look how nice that runs. So this is like a solid 60. Now, granted, this game is what, like 12 years old? Older than that, maybe? But it runs great. And it's just about 60 frames per second at 1080p on a little tiny Intel processor. You're not going to run VR on this or anything like that, but it's pretty solid. This game really holds up, I got to say. And you know, I don't know if you've all played the VR version. It's awesome. I just haven't had time to like set it up and play it, but it's great. All right. Yeah, I remember when Valve. Hey, I'll tell you what though, the VR version is awesome. Like it is amazingly good. All right, so we got that done. Let me just add that to my list of B-roll here. So this is going to be innards, and this is Half-Life 2. This thing isn't half bad. You know, there hasn't been like a good cheap budget PC in a while. I remember we were getting them in like left and right, and we haven't had a good one in a while. This one feels pretty good. All right, so we got that. I'm going to do No Man's Sky because I know it's not going to work, but I'm just curious if it can try to work. Why can't it sync that game up? Let's see if it'll give it a second here. Yeah, we'll just play it. I hope I don't screw this up if it tries to sync. Oh, geez. Because it didn't sync the save game yet. I don't know if that's going to mess me up or not. Oh, it's a new expedition. Launch June 7th. So I think this is 8-core. What's the N95? Let's take a look. Intel N95. So the N95 is a 4-core, quad-core. But it's, yeah, 4 cores, 4 threads. So this is the 4-core. So I don't think this is the 8-core version. I may be corrected. And this one is not fanless, but the fan is pretty quiet. Like that fan was not audible when we were playing Half-Life. I did not have the speaker on either. Yes, so we have that petition we're running. So that is out there. I'm gonna do real quick, folks. I'm just gonna quit this and go back in because I just don't want to kill my save games. Just want to make sure that it's okay. Now it's up to date. Okay, so we're good. I just didn't want to overwrite my. Oh, it's got an update on the game, so let's let that update itself. And then we'll be good. I tell you, it feels pretty zippy. I'm pretty happy with the performance on this. I was expecting it to be a little more sluggish, and I think the reason why I was expecting that is because when we looked at their mini PC version, I was running that at 4K 60, and this is 1080p 60. So it feels pretty good. That Artemis thing was awesome. Man, that cost me a fortune going back and forth to that. Hey, good idea, Trent. I will try Portal on that. I bet you Portal will work great on this. Because I think that's the same engine as Half-Life 2, right? Yeah, I'm with you, Michael, because I don't have, I used to be all about, so actually Half-Life's a great example. This is probably one of the last games that I was really excited about getting day one. And don't forget, as many of you know, Half-Life 2 launched Steam, because that was the first game that they distributed over Steam. So I pre-ordered it, and back then, bandwidth was really slow. So I think I had maybe a megabit, if that, from the cable company. It wasn't that much. So I remember when I first got my cable modem, the speed was very similar to the DSL that I had, which was about a megabit. So this game was preloaded. Like this pioneered everything. This is Half-Life I'm talking about. The game was preloaded, and it came down like a week or two before it was officially released. So it was so cool to like have. Yes, I've got it on like the low settings here. So the game was preloaded, and then like the day that it was released, you had it. It was so cool to like have a game on the day it came out without having to go buy the box. Now we miss that, right? All right, let's see how this works. I am not expecting this game to run very well at all. Oh, so we talked about this a little bit earlier. I haven't been following it all that closely. I will say that it's sad when, I don't even know who Madison is. It's sad when people I like are fighting with each other. I don't know them all that well. I will say I'm on Floatplane, so I have had email interactions with Luke from Linus Tech Tips on that. But now I think the whole thing is just sad that they're fighting with each other like that. I don't know what precipitated the dispute. And the Linus stuff that I watch is not the stuff that they're fighting over, because I don't get into a lot of the PC, even though I'm a computer reviewer. I'm a consumer computer reviewer, so I try not to get into the weeds on my reviews, and I just don't have much of a interest on that stuff. And I guess the whole thing started because somebody on a tour said something that was disparaging the process of the other people. I don't know what happened, but yeah. So, and actually, to some degree, I think we've seen this in the traditional media where you'll have one outlet kind of correct the other, in their story. It doesn't happen often, right? But it does happen. It does happen from time to time. But you're right. You'd have in journalistic quarters, if somebody was doing something that was kind of against the code, right? Your society would make a statement about that. Absolutely. In this instance, it's different. But don't forget too that, again, I don't know enough about what's being alleged or the facts behind it to be able to say one way or the other. My understanding is that the complaint alleged is that they're getting details wrong on things. And there's some other things that they alleged also, but like they really harped on the details that were being missed in their reviews, right? And I guess the Linus people did do like a self-reflecting video about the pressure of continually uploading stuff. Again, I think it all comes back to what we were talking about before, is these algorithms are so unpredictable. And I can put myself in Linus's shoes. Like, you come into work every day, you got this huge building that you don't own. You're paying, either rent or you're paying a mortgage for. You get all these employees that you got to keep employed. I mean, it's a lot of pressure. And sometimes I think as an owner of a business like that, because I've been there with my family's company, you feel, I think you are more fearful of failure because of the implications of what that failure might mean, that you push harder than you have to because you're convinced your business is going to fall apart tomorrow. And I think that if there is anything along those lines, I think what I'm hearing a lot of is that there's so much pressure to upload, that I can imagine that could be driving some of it. They have, what, about 100 employees, I think, now, right? They're a big company. So yeah, it'll all work out in the end. I'm not saying who's right or who's wrong, because I really don't know enough to say it one way or the other, but I would say that I think the bigger you get as a company, especially when you own the company, if you're a good employer, which I suspect Linus is, you feel a lot of personal responsibility to the people that are working for you. And it's hard to understand that unless you're in that position to know, what, it's just a tough thing. All right, so this is running as expected, 3 frames per second. So you can see the difference between an old game and a new game, right? But let's see if we can squeeze any more performance out of this. So this is unplayable, but let's go and look at the resolution, because we are at 1080p right now. And if I go down lower, yeah, you know what's funny about this too is that they say the companies that get a union deserve one, right? And I think when you get into that phase, it's where those things can happen. Like I said, I think a lot of this is driven by the fact that subscribers don't mean anything anymore. And they can make one simple change that will fix it, and they don't do it. All right, so let's go down to 720p and see what happens. Okay, so apply that. All right, let's try that out. And I think too, what's good about their approach to things, if you want to have, and this is like from a PR standpoint, I got a little bit of experience there too. If you're wrong, admit it. Instead of making up spin, right? So yeah, this is 12 frames per second now. All right, let's try one other resolution. Let's see how low we can go, and then we'll call it. That's what bugs me about this YouTube thing about the external links on shorts. They're not being truthful about the reason they're doing it. What they should be saying is, we're doing this because we want to use our own affiliate marketing thing, and we don't want people linking outside our platform anymore. If they said that, I think it would have been honest. But they're not honest about it. All right, so we're going to try 640 by 480. We're going to go like old school. Yeah, there you go. So now we're at about 30 frames per second, just under. It does run, sort of. It's actually playable. It's about 20, yeah, it's 20 to 25 frames per second at 640 by 480. But it's playable. So there you go. All right. Got it. So we'll add that to the mix. Sun, thank you for the follow on Amazon. I don't think I'll be coming to Phoenix unless there's something going on in Phoenix. Generally, things are in New York that I go to, or Las Vegas. But I would like to visit Phoenix. I have friends in Arizona. I got friends everywhere. Yeah, that's the thing. Again, I don't know. Like I said, my situation is very difficult because primarily I'm following the same strategy I followed when I started, which is to do commoditized content that's searchable. And my thought process was it wasn't even my thought process. It was the reality of what this personality is compatible with, right? And so I found success, marginal success, enough to quit my job success, I guess, reviewing random stuff and relying on search traffic to get those videos watched. And to a large degree, that is still happening today. If I find the right items and review them, like the dye sublimation printer we looked at the other day, did very well, or will do very well, not yet, but it will, because I know that stuff is popular in search. And once we get into the holiday shopping season, that video is going to go through the roof. That stuff's that's still working. So what's frustrating me, and I've been saying this all afternoon, I should probably just do the video. I should just record it right now. What's frustrating me is that I have 340,000 subscribers that I can't reach. Because essentially, I would say all but 5 or 10% of them are shadow unsubscribed. So all of you watching in the live stream, watch me enough that. But the problem is that because I am relying on, so if I did just things that would appeal to the algorithm, I wouldn't be earning enough to stay in business. So I have to do the videos that are not that interesting to my subscriber base, the ones that they skip over. And what's happened over the years is that because maybe I do 1 or 2 a week that might appeal to any given subscriber, or maybe 1 or 2 a month perhaps, who knows. They're skipping over a lot of the stuff that I do because it doesn't interest them. But if I didn't do those on this channel, they'd be completely in the void because there is enough of a base to at least get that video started with the subscriber. And I mean, it's so complicated, but I don't think I'm going to. I just learned of Build this morning. I was going to check it out and see what they have there because it's in New York. It's not hard for me to get there. I'll see if they have any press slots open. Yeah, those communities can get kind of crazy. Especially the way that Reddit moderates, right? So like Reddit has their own filters, which are those the moderators that can, not all moderators are bad, I'm not going to say that, but they tend to be very strict in how they govern things there. All right, so we saw how that worked. Let me see what else I can demo on this. I do want to get Microsoft Word installed on here. So let me do that. And as boring as it is to talk about Microsoft Word, I put it on here because the people that are going to watch this video, case in point, not my subscribers, but the people who are going to watch this video are people who want to know if they can run Word on it. How do you even install Word now? Is it in the store? Where do they put Word? See? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly. I want to be the background guy. And if you don't get the notification, I can't sit in your background, right? That's from Albert, who's probably listening and didn't see me mention him. Now, so this is my point. I'm not being hidden from the subscription feed. But most people don't look at the subscription feed. And what I'm noticing with subscriptions is that, and I think this is true of most people, over the years, They really push subscriptions. So if you've been on YouTube for a long period of time, I have over 1,000 subscriptions. And every time I go through them, I'm like, well, I don't want to unsubscribe from that person because I like what they do. I'm just not into everything they do. But I want to see what I'm missing. So what I suggested is that they add some features to subscriptions to elevate people that you've rung the bell on, that they add some, perhaps a little bit of algorithmic topical sorting so that you can go through your subscription feed and find things to look for more efficiently. Because if you have a wide interest, which I think most general viewers do, there's going to be just a lot of stuff just thrown at you. Yeah, here's another one. Now, and I see you a lot, HT, so you click the bell, right? Are you a bell click? Yeah, no alert here either. Is Office pre-installed? I don't know if it is. So what happens now with Office is when you click on Office, it pulls up the web version of the app. Let me sign into my other account here real quick. Bear with me here, everybody. I got to sign in with my account here. Yes, that's it. They give you like the web links installed. So, and Joe gets the notifications. So there you go. Yeah, they insist the notifications work. But the other problem with the notifications are that they come in randomly, like whenever somebody uploads something. So, you're in the middle of your workday. You're not going to go watch the video, right? And you can't add it to your watch later without going to the video. So it's difficult. And I covered all that in my. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to do another video, like what I'm going to talk about. All right, so so I have Office, quote unquote, installed, and if I click on my document here, as you can see, it brings me up to Chrome and it pulls it up in a web browser. But what I want to do is install Word. Why do they make it so hard to install Word? I guess they want it on the web now. Is that their desire? Yeah, I'm in Office, but you can't like install Word. Oh, install apps. There we go. So install apps. I bet you there's like a bunch of people running around on their computer thinking they've got Word installed, and they're actually using the web version. The keyboard feels cheap, as you would expect. The keys feel light to me, like my fingers are bouncing a little bit on there. Oops. All right, so now I'm in here. There we go. Install. So now it's going to download something, and then I can install it. All right. All right, hang on a second, everybody. I'll be right back. All right, we're just waiting for that to finish up, and we'll continue on. No, I just had to take a little break. But I've taken the break, and now I'm back. Hopefully you didn't hear the break. I muted the mic. I'm happy that CGR is back also. So if you don't know who CGR is, it's Classic Game Room. And he struggled a lot with this also, because I think he, of all people, really experienced that shift away from subscribing meeting something, because his traffic dropped as they went to a more algorithmic approach. Well, there's a project for you. 1,500 ThinkPad L13 Gen 3 laptops. So did you move from Chrome OS to Windows? That's a question. Yes, I do like LibreOffice. I'm with you on that. And yeah, we'll take a look at Linux, and I'll pull up Ubuntu. Yeah, I was away from keyboard. You see this coffee? You know? What goes in must come out. Boy, this is taking a while. We'll be done in just a moment, it says. I will say, I'm very impressed with the performance on this. It doesn't feel cheap to me. The Windows interface here is very simple. Like it doesn't have any bloatware on it. Let me check the. I'm actually curious about the Windows version, or the activation. Let's take a look at that. The one thing about this that I'll ask my Windows experts about this. So actually, that's interesting. It's running Windows 11 Pro. And it's activated with a digital license, which is weird because you never see Windows 11 Pro on a cheap laptop, and all their mini PCs also. And these are fully activated. I don't think they're screwing around with the Microsoft license. I just wonder how they're getting the price this low on these things. Because they do put that sticker, like this sticker is on their mini PCs also, talking about having the network disconnected when you first connect up. I don't think I can't imagine them selling these computers at this scale with a faulty copy of Windows. And I'm not getting any activation notices. Maybe a group license, huh? That could be. Yeah, and it does obsess you, doesn't it? Like, what can I do to get a few more subscribers, right? Yeah. I don't know. It's just so different now than when I started, because it just felt like it was far more community-based, in the sense that your community saw everything you put up. Even if they weren't into it, it's okay. Like, they'd still watch it, right? And they shifted over time to this recommendation engine, which I think has been good for them. But I think it hurts in the sense that you can't really build a community here. You really can't build a community anywhere anymore, to be quite honest with you, unless you do it yourself. Yeah, so a lot of shocked things here. Could be gray market. Yeah, I just don't know how you get that much gray market license. Like, it's not like there are that many available, right? All right, so now we're installed. So I just want to capture some B-roll of Microsoft Word running. Look how fast that comes up. All right, so let's go open. I've got a bunch of files in my OneDrive here. I think, where are those files? Here it is. I always like to load this one up just because it's kind of an example of how things work. See? That's it. That's the B-roll shot. Get some of that in there. But it's quick. I mean, like, there's nothing there's nothing saying to me that, boy, this is a deal breaker. Like this thing just seems to work pretty good. And it's actively cooled. So I'm not going to run it on the stream, but I'll run the 3D Mark stress test on it in a little bit. And I think what we'll find with that is that it is pretty, it's going to probably cool itself pretty good. It's got a pretty big fan on it. You know, it's funny, around that time, I was at my day job, and we had to make a decision on our warehouse management system. We were always on a budget. Like we were always trying to find ways, not cut costs, but keep our costs down as low as we could. And so our choice was we could run. This software was written in the Progress database language, which is still around. I think it's pretty popular in the casino gaming environment of all things. I wasn't in casino gaming, but the guys that we were working with programmed everything in Progress. And we had a choice. We could run it on Windows and pay all the licensing fees and they had 1 million licenses. You had to buy a license for the server. You had to buy a license for every computer connecting to the server. There was terminal server, like there's so many licenses. It was so confusing and expensive. And so we decided to go with Red Hat. And it completely nixed the OS cost and all the licenses except the Progress licenses. And it worked great. That system, I kid you not, I think that thing ran for 2.5 years without a restart. Like it just was rock solid. And it was just basically a telnet server with a database engine on it. And they had the whole database running in RAM. And it would do like these writes out to the disk every once in a while. That was around 2001. That thing ran forever. Yeah, I think there's some truth to this. What they'll tell you is that it's about audience growth. And so they're looking now as one of the metrics, returning audience. Like they keep pushing this returning audience concept. And I get it. The problem is that I don't think they consider audience subscribers. What they consider audience are people that found you, watched you, and whether or not you come back again. So, and like I said, I'm okay in the sense that my initial approach that I did when I first started, which was not focused on building subscribers, just trying to make a buck or two, that's been working for me. So it still works now. So I guess, we'll see where it goes. All right, so we got the Word stuff. Do we want to look at some Linux real quick? Let's do that. So let me turn it off real quick. I'm going to do the update later. It's got another one waiting for me here. And I'll take out my Linux disk and we'll pop that in. Yeah, we had a pretty beefy UPS on that. So what it would do is it ran the database in RAM, and then like I forgot how often, but every so often it would write the contents of memory to disk is what it would do. So Crab Donkey used to run CPU. Wow, that's hardcore right there. Here's a good question from my friend BB Garnett. He calls himself a bot, and I'll tell you why he calls himself a bot. Because for the longest time, YouTube, so I love BB Garnett because every time I post a video, here's somebody who does see every video I upload. I will get a comment from BB Garnett saying, keep up the good work. YouTube thought he was a bot. And so I kept having to take his comments and put them out of the bot folder. And so he eventually called himself not a bot. And believe it or not, since you changed your name, you never show up in the bot folder again. My thoughts on refurbs. I think if you buy a refurb direct, you're in good shape. I've had very good luck with Apple refurbs over the years. All right, so I'm going to see if I can get into the BIOS here. That was easy. Yeah, I don't think we had ECC-backed RAM. We were running on a Dell server. I remember the server that we ran. And it was funny, the guys that we were working with were these old school, big iron IT guys. And they were shocked that they could. So I guess this Progress database, you could compile the code or you can let it run basically as a script. And they were shocked that this system could run the code without having to compile. So they loved the fact that they could work so much more efficiently on it. It was good stuff. All right, so let's override here and go to the Linux disk here. I have a feeling this is going to work great on this. All right, let's see what happens. You always get some weird errors here, but I think we'll be in good shape. So we had bought, for our family company, we bought this building which it was like an old call center for Pepperidge Farm or something. And they had like this huge building-wide UPS that would keep everything, all the systems running until their generator could kick on. It was like a bank of like probably 50 car batteries. It's crazy. All right. Here is Ubuntu. We're just going to do the live version. But you can have a lot of fun with this thing. I would imagine the battery life is going to be pretty good on this too. Actually, we'll try Ubuntu. All right, we're up. Does the audio work? Does the Wi-Fi work? We'll find out. Let's go and connect everything here. Give me a second to get authenticated with my Wi-Fi. It did detect the Wi-Fi radio, so that was, there it goes. Now it's pulling it up. Oh, wow. Enterprise SSDs have supercapacitors on them as a power outage option. That's amazing. There's so much stuff in the enterprise space that me in the consumer space never get to see or never get to play with all that much. All right, let's go and check out my YouTube channel and just see if that works. Here, we can talk. All right, so I'm not hearing any audio. I found this on the last one we looked at also. I have another one that I've got coming up soon. Let me jump into the settings screen here. Yeah, it didn't detect the audio. That's unfortunate. So no audio. So when we go back into Windows, we'll take a look at what audio hardware it has. Let me just grab some B-roll footage here. And it performs well otherwise in Linux here. So if you don't need audio, it's probably fine. Generally, it works great, but sometimes there's always one little component that doesn't cooperate, and in this case, it's this. Here's LibreOffice. See, I am running LibreOffice. And I don't know if there's a more recent Ubuntu version. I think I'm on the most recent one here. All right, let me just make sure I got the footage because I don't know if the camera went out of focus while I was recording. Let me just double check that. I'd hate to have to like repeat that. So bear with me for 1 second. Yeah, it looks like it's fine. Yeah, we're good. It got a little fuzzy for a second, but it stayed mostly in focus. Okay. All right, so that works. And let's see if we can get to the bottom of the audio issue. So Synology has SuperCap SSDs for your NAS. Yeah, it's probably going to be out of my price range. I've been having a lot of fun, though, with Docker on Synology. Ever since they changed to that new Docker container manager, it is so much easier to work with. The fan is, I'm not hearing the fan right now. So when Bill started at the New York Times, they were still using reels, like reel-to-reel tape. How about that? Yeah, so I'm not seeing any additional drivers showing up here. So why don't we go back to Windows and let's take a look and see what the audio hardware is on this. That might help us figure out what we need to do here. Amazon customer, thank you for the follow on Amazon. Is so good. I have Docker containers coming out of my ears right now. I'm like finding all this cool stuff. I found one the other day that like reminds me of, or it's equivalent to Instapaper, you know, where you can do the read later thing. It works just as well, and it's mine. I have control over it, and then it's backing it all up automatically. It's just so amazing. Like I'm so happy with it. I think I told you all about this. I have PeerTube, which is that YouTube equivalent. It's like my my doomsday thing. Like I don't need to tell you about it yet, but if I ever get kicked off of YouTube, I can point you there, and I'm basically every time I upload a video, I make sure that my PeerTube instance grabs it. So Marius had a problem with his Kingston A400. So was it just a defective piece of hardware? What happened there? No resolution, huh? Let's take a look at our device manager. I'll tell you what, this thing feels solid to me. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not going to rival some of the more expensive laptops that we review frequently, but it's good. Like, this is a nice computer. Everything they've put together, I've been very impressed with. All right, so this is, actually, don't tell me what it is. It says Realtek audio, but not what type of Realtek audio it is. Just an audio endpoint, hardware IDs. Where would I find the manufacturer ID? I always thought Realtek audio was pretty compatible. So here's what's interesting. If you go to the Docker video that I did most recently on Synology, I got another one I'm doing maybe even today if I have time. Yeah, the mouse is extra, but yeah, it is a great college laptop. I mean, somebody steals it, it's $300. Get another one, right? On the 723 Plus, which is not their enterprise model, I had some RAM kicking around that I just threw in there and it worked. So I know they're being restrictive maybe on the higher end models, but I did not. It has not thrown an error at me for using off-brand RAM on it. So I've been hearing about the SanDisk issues. You know, my take on it, I mean, if it's defective, it's defective. I'm hoping that they're honoring their warranty, because those drives typically come with, I think, a 5-year warranty. It doesn't help if you lost data, unfortunately. But, you know, one of the things that I always hammer home to people is that you want to have multiple copies of everything everywhere. So case in point, when I make a video on the channel, so I have a single recording drive, obviously, so there's a new one. I just put a new one in. I have a 4 terabyte SSD, which, by the way, I got for a really good deal during Prime Day. I have a 4 terabyte SSD that I record to. When I'm done recording a video, I take that footage, I convert it to a ProRes 422. vMix has a converter. I put it on a second drive that I use to edit on the Mac with, but I don't delete the raw footage on the server here until I am done with the video. So that way, if my SSD goes down, I still have a copy of the most significant part of most significant time part of my work commitment, which is the shooting of the video. So I don't know how I can get the name of this audio. Maybe it's in the BIOS. Let's pop in there real quick. But this is, I mean, this is good. I would say this is right up there with the Acers that you'd get for a little bit more as far as the quality. We haven't looked at the webcam yet. Let's do that after this. I was trying to see if there's a spot where it tells me what the audio is on it. The BIOS is actually pretty locked down. There's not a lot I can get into here. So there's very little that you can affect here on the BIOS. There's really nothing you can affect with it. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, if the higher end stuff, what I think they should do is give the user a choice on no matter what the product is. But I was surprised because I had heard that if you'd put non-Synology RAM in one of their newer NASs, it was going to just not work. But my 723 Plus in there has been running with it for over a month, 2 months now. And I'm hitting it pretty hard. I got a bunch of Docker containers running on it. It's going pretty good. So only Office, Mario Faker is asking about. I don't know. What I do is I load up the, it's Ubuntu, whatever the most recent version of Ubuntu is. I can't imagine it not working on Ubuntu. Yeah, there's nothing, you're not going to find anything on their website. But you know what, though? That's a good question for the Telegram customer support. Let's see if they wrote back to me yet. I don't think they have. Not Telegram, WhatsApp. WhatsApp. You haven't heard from them yet. But maybe they will get back to me. Huh. All right, well, I think we got a lot done here. We got to do the webcam real quick. So let's look at the webcam. And then I'm going to call it because I got to get some other stuff done before the end of the evening here. So let's go back to our Amazon chat here. Louis M., thank you for the follow on Amazon. Huh. Yeah, I'm going to ask them about this because it just seems like maybe it's the version of Ubuntu that I'm running. It just doesn't have the audio driver. All right, so let's go back into Windows real quick. But here's how quick it boots up, too. Yeah, it's nice. It's got 16 gigs of RAM. That's a lot for a low-end laptop, right? Maybe a little bit of a load time. I spoke too soon. There it goes. And for some reason, it thinks it's 7:51. I got to change the clock here. All right, we're in. I should probably make sure the audio works on Windows too, huh? Yeah, it is working on Windows at least. And I got to check the battery life on this too at some point. Let me ask you all, like, do you all use some kind of battery testing tools out there? Like, what do people use for? I go off of kind of just using it, but. All right, let me go and pull up the camera here. We'll record my webcam waving. Let's see how that well, that's a bright light. Oh boy. Yeah, this camera's trash. Something had to be bad on this. It's the camera. Here, I'll pull up the video. Let's see what the this is the worst webcam I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, 720p. Yeah, this is pretty awful. We'll give it 10 seconds. They had a skimp on something. It was the webcam. I'll load the footage into my video system here, and you'll see how bad it is. But you know what? That's the only thing I can complain about on here. Because everything else has been pretty good. Keyboard's not bad. I don't think it's backlit. I'll need to figure that out. I don't think it is. 1080p IPS. This display looks good. I mean, it's not bright, but it's good, you know? Here, but I'll show you the I'll show you the quality of the video there. Well, it's taking a long time to transfer. Yeah, I should probably test the Wi-Fi too. Because that file took a long time to copy, and that was only like 40 megabytes. 7 megabytes, not even. All right, let's do a quick Wi-Fi test also. So we'll test the Wi-Fi speed. Apparently it's 6E, or so it says. Yeah, at least you get a webcam, exactly. See, now John, you own the company though, don't you? So technically you're working. Technically I'm working. All right, let's see here, speed tests. I'm just gonna run the speedtest.net app on here just to see if we're getting decent Wi-Fi speeds. Oh, that's the wrong one. This is the one I want, the Ookla. All right, let that go here for a second. So it is definitely on 5. Let me check my Unify control panel here and see what we're getting. I'm just going to look it up and see what we're connecting at here. I was looking for it on my list of computers. This is the AX15. And it says, oh yeah. Huh. Let me try to reconnect the Wi-Fi. What it's saying is that it's Wi-Fi 5 in a 1x1 configuration. And it could just be a bad connection. Let me cycle that real quick. So I'm going to reconnect here and see if that improves things. Yeah, it's a pretty lousy Wi-Fi. All right, let's take a look and see. I may have to test that a little bit further. I just noted it because the speed in which that webcam video transferred was super slow. So let's see what the Wi-Fi is looking like here. Yeah, so that's, I mean, it's indicative of a 1x1 connection. But I thought it had Wi-Fi 6, at least that's what it said in the specs. Yeah, look at that, it's only doing like 4 megabits upstream. So the Wi-Fi here is a little lacking. So that might be our other problem. That one I got to investigate a little further. That could very well be a driver that's going to get installed in the next Windows update. But let me check. Yeah, this is a cheapo mouse that came in on one of our Temu hauls. It works. My daughters like it. It's pink. Just don't tell them it's down here because I needed a mouse quickly. Let me check one thing here. I just want to see what their Ace Magic laptop. Let's take a look and see what they are saying about this one. Okay, it says it has AC Wi-Fi, so it's not Wi-Fi 6, but it's pretty bad AC Wi-Fi. So you know what I might do is look up what Wi-Fi it was it was advertising there, because the Wi-Fi is pretty bad. Sometimes things don't like my Unify equipment for some reason. So that could be contributing, because it just seems weird that they would put such a lousy Wi-Fi radio on here. All right, so yeah, let me show you the webcam, and then I got to go. So let's do this, add. Let's go over to our NAS drive here. So if you want to see how bad the webcam is, that's how bad it is. I mean, you would be on your Zoom call, but that's what you would look like. So that's that. All right, so we got to look at the Wi-Fi issue and the audio in Linux. And you know what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to run our latest update. And let's see if that update might resolve the Wi-Fi issue. Yes, this is definitely Wi-Fi, AC Wi-Fi. And you could replace the chip. So I'll show you the overhead of that. If anybody can identify the Wi-Fi chip on board, let me pull it up here real quick. Let's go back to the D drive here, Ace Magic PC, innards. So rather than, here I'll pause this real quick, rather than take it apart again, this is why I do the 4K thing, because I can do stuff like this. So let's zoom in. All right, who can research what that is? Somebody tell me what that chip is. That's the Wi-Fi. It doesn't look like it's that great of a Wi-Fi chip. Somebody ask somebody do a search for that one. Then we'll find out. But let's see what happens after we do our update here and if it improves itself. But I'll tell you what, the display for a laptop of this price is really good. Are the AI whizzes here? Hello there. Thanks for stopping by. All right. So BB Garnett says it's an RTL. Wow. That's just crazy that that's where they would skimp on, right? But yeah, you could put a better Wi-Fi radio in there, no problem, right? Oh, that could be it, because I think I am on WPA3. I'll mess around with it. So it's AC 1x1. Interesting. Here, I'll pull it up again here so you all can see what it looks like. That's what it looks like. So BB Garnett, where did you see that? Just so I can research it further. But maybe after this update, it'll run a little better. We'll see. Yes, everyone's saying Intel. Yeah, maybe you could easily get something like that, right? What does the Intel killer cost? That can't be that expensive. Let's see. Yeah, $36. Problem solved. It's weird though. I have not seen Wi-Fi performance that bad, even on a cheap laptop before. But a lot of times, they kind of piece together what, you know what I mean, like what they can get in the channel. So like that's the Wi-Fi that was probably out there. right, let this finish loading up here. And we'll be doing another one of these with another Ace Magician PC, because we got in their new mini PC. That's a real rocket ship. I think it's going to be cool. You're all going to love that one. It's the most, I look at a lot of mini PCs. Like, I'm actually excited to share this one with you because it's got so many things on it that I think are cool. So that one's going to be fun. I'm just waiting for it to show up on Amazon, and then we'll talk about it. It's not that there's any embargo or anything. It's just that if you can't get it, like, you're all going to want this one. That's how cool it is. All right. Let's see what we've got now for Wi-Fi here. Yeah, so we're not going to get any better of a connection because it is just 1 by 1. And you know what's crazy is that its downstream rate is on this is on the Unify equipment here. Which one is it connecting to? That's the other question. I don't know which one it's hooked up to. I would imagine it's the one that's right here, but sometimes it yeah, so it's connecting to the one in the ceiling. Its receive rate is only 6 megabits per second. So the upstream speed out of this is only negotiating 6 megabits per second. That's crazy. And then the other side is 433, which is, I guess, indicative of what we're getting here. I just don't know why it's so bad. All right, so let's run that speed test again and see if it's not going to do any better. So we're still negotiating the same. You know what I might do? Actually, let me try this. Let me connect it to my other. I have another Wi-Fi in here, which is, it's only 2.4, unfortunately. So that it's not going to be a good. Yeah, I don't really have another one I can connect it to that's decent. Let me try this other one. This other one I know is on the other side of the house, so that one might. Let's try this one real quick. I'm just curious if it's just the communication with that particular access point or if it's something else. And this could very well be the WPA3 issue. All right, so now we're connected across the house, and we get a much weaker signal. It's still the same thing. It's 1 by 1, which we knew was going to be the limiting factor here, but let's see. It's going to do even worse now because now it's like 6 and 15. Yeah, so this is on another access point. Not any better. And that doesn't seem to be cooperating. So let's go back to the other one. Yeah, so the Wi-Fi is going to work, but I think it's the WPA3 issue that a lot of you have mentioned. Yeah, it's not good. Oh, unfortunate. Yeah, we're gonna have to. I could try the phone hotspot. The problem is where I am located in the house, there's no signal down here, so it's not going to be a very good demo. But yeah, USB to Ethernet would certainly speed things up. I have not. I have not. I keep good backups, so I generally haven't, knock on wood, have been able to avoid that. But so there you go. All right, well, I got to do some more troubleshooting on the Wi-Fi here. It looks like it's going to be an issue. But beyond that, beyond the crappy webcam and the Wi-Fi, it's a pretty good computer. At least you could swap out the Wi-Fi for something better if you want to. So. All right. Oh, there we go. So it looks like John's switching from Unify to Omada. Interesting. I'll have to look into some other. I had some issues with Unify. They've straightened a lot of their problems out, so we'll have to see where it goes. All right. Well, I think I'm good for now. I'm going to do some battery testing on this and go from there. But we'll have a review up on this in the next couple days, so stay tuned for that. And I will be back with another live stream before you know it. And then tonight, I'm going to be on NASA space flight, although I think the launch just got pushed back. Let me check my schedule here with the guys on NASA space flight. Let's see what we've got. Oh, geez. Looks like they're targeting a later. Okay. All right, so we'll figure it out. So if the launch is at some point tonight, I will be on the NASA spaceflight stream if they are in fact launching this Starlink thing tonight. So, oh, okay, so it is official. All right, cool. All right, I'll plan for. All right, so we're good. So I will catch you all on the next stream, and thank you all for tuning in. And yeah, if you want to see me, you're not going to see me, you'll hear me, but I'm going to be doing some launch commentary on NASA Spaceflight's YouTube channel tonight. So yes, I am on, yep, I've been doing some stuff for them. So I did a launch about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and my first debut with them was I provided footage of the space station resupply mission from here in Connecticut, the one they launched from Virginia. We had some great video there. So if you are watching the Starlink launch this evening, which just got pushed back to 9:55 p.m., I will be providing commentary. I'll be hosting it actually tonight with Sawyer, so it's going to be fun. So tune in, and we'll go from there. All right, everybody. We'll have a review of this coming up very soon, so be on the lookout. And until next time, I will catch you all later. And do me a favor, watch my videos. We got to feed the algorithm, because it's not, you're not seeing anything. It's not showing it to you anymore. So we'll go from there. All right. Yes, you're going to love the new mini PC. As soon as it's available, I will come back on and do a stream. You're going to love it. All right, everybody. I will catch you on the next one. Have a good afternoon and enjoy your day. Talk to you later. 73 Joe. Bye-bye.